Hello, everyone. So I'm here to do another training on CEMCS. And on this one, we're going to talk about posting and publishing. So if you have taken the bill entry training um, all over the phone with me or in person, I will have said more than likely that the posting and publishing training is separate. Um, it's not because it is difficult, it's just because it's management and entry of utility bills is just a lot for me to go through and for you to soak in um, without me moving on to something else, another part of the system. And I feel like it works better in two trainings. So if you have not had bill entry training, please get in contact with the CEMCS team or visit the bill entry training link that you were sent by the CEMCS team. So I've created another video on here, and it describes how to enter a bill into CEMCS. All right, so we're going to assume you know how to enter your bill. The next part is knowing what to do with it after that, because as of right now, you see you can edit these bills, but they cannot be used in the analytics for CEMCS. So the data is in the system, but it's not being utilized for anything. It's just sitting right in bill management and not going anywhere else. So what you need to do is publish this data. And the publish step locks this entry. It will no longer be able to be edited with this little button. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's like this. Right here. So this PU stands for published, and that's the published lock that's been put on it. You cannot edit by clicking anything over here. Um, and the reason behind that is because if this is being used in reports, we just want to make sure that any changes that we make to this data is more deliberate. And there's a couple steps to unlock a bill, and then you need to publish it again once you've made your changes. Okay, so that's what published lock is about and how to tell if it has or hasn't been published. So we're going to go back to our meter that I want to look at. Now, when I post and publish, what I like to do is I like to have two browser tabs open, two browser windows. So I open CEMCS twice. One I keep in bill management, and the other I open posting publishing. So to get to posting publishing, you're going to, along this top ribbon here, normally we would be in bill management, but this time we're going to be in bill administration. And you hover and go down to posting publishing. Okay, so that's where we are now. And I have my bill management tab still open and my posting and publishing tab open. All right, let's go back to bill management because I want to speak a little bit more about this. So the reason I like to keep this tab open is because I like to see, okay, this is the meter I'm working with, what has been published and what hasn't. Okay, so I can tell that it hasn't because it has an edit available. Now, something that's different about this as opposed to this meter is that it says PU here for published. It also has approved and published. And approved is a stamp, a lock that gets applied to it when it's gone through the bill approval process. And you only need to use that if you're going to be using CEMCS to generate pay documents for EMARS upload. And that would be a different training for that. But that's what this block means, is it's gone through bill approval. Okay, so normally you would see this PU, and that means published. And that is for 1 meter per building. So this meter serves this building, and so it just needs to be published. Now, this meter serves 4 buildings. See that? So once that opens back up, we'll talk some about what that means. So this published lock is PC instead of PU. PC stands for published child. Okay, so Right here, when we say this meter serves 4 buildings, what we mean is this meter supplies gas to 4 different buildings that have been set up in CEMCS already. And we call that an allocation. So this meter has been allocated 4 different ways. So let's just say hypothetically, we're not talking gas. Let's say hypothetically we're talking about water. Okay, and I have 4 buildings on a park campus. One is for restrooms for the campground. Another is a bathhouse for the campground. Another is for the swimming pool, and another would be for the bathhouse or the swimming pool. So if you're speaking about a water meter, if it serves all 4 of those, one of those being the swimming pool is going to use quite a bit more water than, say, the restrooms for the campgrounds. So what we have done in this system is we have taken that information and we've also taken into account the square footage. And this has already been set up before we get to this point for you. Um, it's already been set up in the system as to how much of that utility each of those buildings, quote unquote buildings, uses in this system. So maybe it uses 70% of that, whatever comes out of that meter, more than likely is feeding that building. So that's hypothetically how that's set up. So in our hypothetical situation, we have 4 allocations. And in this realistic situation, we also have 4 allocations here. This meter serves 4 different things. All right, so what that means for you is just one more tab in posting and publishing that you need to hit, basically. And it also explains this lock and what it means as opposed to the PU. Okay, so since you see this PC, you know this is an allocation. And also right here where it says serves 4 buildings, you know this serves more than one location. Okay, another thing that you can learn from this screen is what has been posted and what has not. And we've already covered that. But the reason I like to keep this open is I like to start from the oldest, right above where it had been published before. I want to start here and move forward. And I just feel like that works as a better workflow. You can do them out of order if you'd like. But this is just how I like to work. So I'm sharing that with you. Okay, so the date here that you want to take note of is this one right here. That's going to be the accounting period. So when we go to look up our date, our bill in the posting publishing tab, we're going to need December 2020. Okay, let's move over there. Also take note of what you're actually trying to post and publish. So Outwood Campus, 7672 is the last 4 of the account, and it happens to be named that for the meter. This is the meter number, this is the meter name, okay? And this is kind of what's going to show back up in posting and publishing. Okay, so we got December 2020, and we know which meter we're going for. Let's move to posting publishing. And remember, we get there by going bill administration, posting publishing. All right, now we want to be in the correct month. And the month that we said we wanted was December 2020. So this is going to go by accounting month. And the tab we want to be in is post. Okay, so when you have an allocated meter, what you want is to post them first because that actually splits the data up the different ways it needs to go. So we're going to find the meter we're looking for in this tree. We know it's a gas meter, so we're going to open this triangle and move down. We see gas, yes. All right, now we're going to be looking for Outwood. And we have found 7672, and that is what we're looking for. And we know there's 4 of those buildings because it says it serves 4 buildings. And we found them all. So check the boxes next to what you're looking for. We're going to scroll back up, and what you're going to do is you're going to hover over this green arrow, and you see that it says Post Bills. And that is what we're looking to do. So go ahead and hit Post Bills. And you should get a notice that says it's been successfully sent to the processing queue. All right, you'll notice that nothing has changed over here, and that's because this is going to be a static list until you ask the server, has anything new been done? So just like we do in bill management, we're going to go down and find the refresh for this history here. All right, now you see the new action that's been done. I have posted 4 pieces of that meter, and these are the different pieces. Okay, and we see some other things here. We see that has success as the status. I can open these triangles to view more about the success. Since it's a success, there's no message here as to why it was a success, it just was. But if one of the status had skipped, I might want to know why. Okay, so if it says skipped and you think, oh, it shouldn't have skipped that one, you need to open this up and figure out what exactly it's saying to you as to why it didn't do the action that you wanted. There are 2 other statuses that you can encounter. Let's see if we can find them. Ah, there's one. A warning. So warning usually tells you that something is different about this bill from the ones in the past. So this particular one says there's a miscellaneous charge for a negative amount for this bill. And that is odd. I would want to maybe go back and take a look at this. Now, this is actually generated by EDI, which is something that comes in automatically to our system. And it behaves a little bit different when it comes to miscellaneous charges. And I actually wouldn't pay much attention to this warning, but it's here if you want to look at it. I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to fret over all these different warnings, but that's the purpose. It tells you why this is different from previous months and that maybe something is wrong with the data that you've input. All right. I doubt we'll be able to find the other status, but the other status is error, and it shows up as pink. I believe it's a pink line that goes all the way across, and maybe even a red disc here. So it will say error, and you absolutely should pull that down and figure out what is erroring about it. And if you can't figure out what went wrong, let me know, and we can work it out together. Okay. All right, so that's status. Now, this is going to be a running list. If you want to go back and look at older actions that have happened, you want to try to figure out who posted or published or what day you did it, you can adjust the number of history months that this list is pulling up. You can also use the filters here. Submitted is when the action was performed. So I performed this post action on this date at this time exactly. Okay, and for this accounting month. All right, so all that we did so far was post 4 different ways the data from that meter that was entered. Now what we need to do is publish. So we're going to go to the Publish tab, and the date stays the same for us, and that's exactly what we want because we want to move on with this data here for December of 2020 accounting month. So we want to be in the Publish tab, and we're looking at gas, and we're looking at Atmos, and we have 4 pieces right here. So I'm going to select all 4 of those pieces. I'm not going to select this one because this is not the campus location that I'm looking at. So you also don't want to just check this whole Atmos because this was also under there and you would end up publishing someone else's data. Okay, so we checked all the boxes that are appropriate for us right now, and we're going to hit publish. So publish is a little piece of paper with a world. And if you hover over it, it does say publish bills. And you got your message over here saying that that was a good action and it was done successfully. So I'm going to go down here, I'm going to hit refresh. And I want to refresh every time because I want to see if something skipped or something errored before I move on to publish. So after I posted, I want to make sure that all the actions were good. and then move over to publish. You may also get a status of pending, and it would have a little question mark right here. That just means you need to wait a little bit longer. It's still processing through the queue, and keep refreshing, and eventually it'll turn to a permanent status. Okay, so we see our 4 pieces of this meter have been published successfully. And that's exactly what we want. And now we're done. We're done with posting and publishing for this 1 meter. One thing that you can do, let me go back to post, is I can open electric and I can select all of Outwood. I can open gas and select all of Outwood. I can open all of the water and select everything for that location. Okay, so I could select all of this and do everything for the month of December 2020, accounting month, at one time, just with one click of the button, if that's what you want to do. And then you can go and you can publish in the same manner. You can open as many of these as pertain to what you're looking at that you want to do at one time. So really, you only need to come into this location of post and publish probably once a month. So when you enter your bills for the month, you want to come in here, you want to post them, and you want to publish them, and then you're done. That's it. Now, there's one more thing I want to cover. Uh, Let me come back here to the bill management screen and do a refresh so that you can see the lock that's been applied to the December bill. There it is. There it is. Okay, so there's one more thing that I want to do before I leave you for today, and that is to undo this publish lock. Um, so to do that, you would want to take note which accounting period are we looking at, which meter are we looking at, and let's go find that to unlock it. Okay, so posting, publishing is where we're going to go. We want to make sure the accounting month is selected here. And now we're looking to reject that bill. So it's the exact same way. You're just going to be in the accept reject tab. You're going to open with the arrows to find what you're looking for. And I see there are only 2 boxes here, and I would expect to see 4. Okay, so there's one more button that I didn't tell you about, and that's refresh all trees. And when I hit that, that's going to ask the server, are you sure that's all that's in here for these trees to pull up? Are you sure? So I'm going to hit this, and I hope, I hope it's going to bring us back 4 entries. There we go. All right, so now that we have our 4, we want to select all the pieces of this meter if we want to make an adjustment. And then we're going to hit reject bills. Okay, so it's saying that action is good. I'm going to come down and refresh. And I should see that my reject action has been successful. I'm going to come back to bill management and I'm going to refresh. And it wants to take its time. That's okay. All right. And we can see December 2020 is back to where you can edit. And we know from the previous training, if you hit edit, you're going to be able to edit right here in this history, and it's not going to pull up another form for you. Okay, so once you make your edits, make sure and go back to posting and publishing and do post and then publish for the bills that you need to. Now, the bills that are the meters that only supply one building, so this Western State Hospital building is supplied by this 1 meter, and it says PU here. You will not need to find that in the post tab because you don't need to split that bill up. So you're just going to come over to publish and find it and publish it. Okay. So every month I would work from post first. If you're unsure if it's an allocated meter or not, try to find it. If you can't find it, look over in the publish tab. If you still can't find what you're looking for, make sure you refresh all trees and make sure that the server has brought up everything in the tree that you need to find. Okay, I'm going to leave you for today. I hope you enjoyed your publishing and posting training for CEMCS. Um, if you have trouble, contact a CEMCS team member and they will get you some help. All right, thanks, guys.